it's finite,
Yeah.
right? And optimizing it is, I think, certainly what you talk about and what I talk about, whatever labeling we want to put on it. And it always saddens me when I see people kind of come to a dead end that maybe didn't have to be. I mean, your story, Ted, you told it to me the other day about having a business and having corporate life, and then getting smacked around by we live here in this dynamic economic place called Silicon Valley. I mean,
Yeah.
where we live now is not Silicon Valley, but to me, it's in many ways also we're all affected by what went on down there.
Yeah.
I got here in 1977 to the Bay Area. I think you told me you were right around then as well.
79. Yeah.
Yeah. So, down on in downtown San Francisco, there were companies like Crown Zellerback Paper and
Right.
Foremost McKesson Dairies, and uh, these dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And just down the road, like 30 miles, close, right? You get to Palo Alto and then further, and all of a sudden there was this whole other world,
Hmm.
Silicon Valley. I was just telling somebody the other day, I I start placing people at Intel when it was a $400 million company. I mean, I met Gordon Moore in the parking lot one day. He was cool. He had an open collar shirt and gold chains. And in New York, where I began my career in Park Avenue, companies, Colt Industries,
Yeah.
and those sorts of things. That you were pretty buttoned up. So I thought, well, it was, and it is cool, but it grew like crazy. But with that comes this, right,
Yep.
Ted? And you were smacked around by it as you told me, and it ultimately drove you to a more entrepreneurial path, correct?
Definitely.
Yeah, and
So when people like, I see like athletes have this skill set and then they're not an athlete anymore. They can't do it. Do you have to teach them new skills or do you just kind of tap into what they already know?
it's a great question, and I thank you for asking it. I was actually just speaking with somebody this morning about our website, and I think the first thing you try to tap into is their competitive spirit, is what I ultimately decided. Because yes, skills, of course, but I was just joking with Max this morning on Twitter about he was talking about how this my nephew Max Home is a professional golfer. He's won 4 times on the PGA Tour. He actually just escorted Tiger Woods down the 18th fairway at St. Andrews, and Tiger's maybe, hopefully not final round there, but whatever. Anyway, he's a real good golfer. But he was talking about his basketball prowess today on Twitter, and I was kind of joking with him, on Twitter about it. So there's always something more to learn, is the point.
Hmm.
Max was talking about a drop step and a pull up jump shot or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, and I joke with him about continuing. He was actually a very good basketball player too, but continuous learning is important. But I think that sometimes you get married to what you were, and but competitors understand what they could be.
Hmm.
And so it's what we've tried to tap into. Not everybody wants to change, and there's not much we can do about it. So the people who I call out, is that a marketing term, Ted, or a
Yeah.
copywriting
I think,
term, kind of?
I think so.
Yeah, so why don't you explain what it means when you call somebody out?
Or a shout out or a call out.
Well, I mean, basically, what we're trying to do is appeal, I say, for competitors only.
Hmm.
Because until I can identify people who were really willing to continue to compete, like I was joking with Max, continuous learner,
Right.
you can't help them doing what you do. I can't help them doing what I do, because you have to want to learn new skills. So before, in answer to your question, I hope it's not too long winded, before you can actually teach them something that they don't know, you have to identify those who are willing to learn it.
Right.
Otherwise, you're falling on deaf ears. You just there's no point. So, what we first try to do is identify those people who are still
They got the
interested and
fire
willing
inside
to
of
learn, right?
them.
So,
Yeah.
so that's the first part. I hope that answered your question. Sorry to be long-winded.
No, that's fine. Yeah,
Uh,
because if people don't want to learn, I'm like people buy books all the time or they take courses, but they never finish them or even start them. They're not the kind of people you're looking for.
I mean, well, in the fifth quarter project, we gift, we look for foundation money, but even though we give content away to the people who participate, I still do a heavy screening process because I do want to find competitors because I don't want it to fail. I think the program is important as a statement and this is kind of a big statement, I know, but in our educational kind of ethos, I think we give up on people after 4 years, and you and I both know as older people, again, learning has to be continuous, but so I hope with what we're doing, we kind of call that out also and say, learning should go on. But if we bring a bunch of people in who don't want to compete, we'll fail.
Yeah.
And it's not because of what we know or our motivation to help them. It's because, again, what's that quote? You have to lead a student to the doorstep of their own mind. I think that's Khalil Gibran or somebody like that. But they got to be willing. So the spirit has to be willing. So yeah, it's not just what I know. And again, this too. It's who's willing to to keep going. So yeah, it's been a very interesting ride, frankly. And I think I told you this when we first spoke. We're now trying to get some affinity with some celebrity, as it were. I had an opportunity to coach at Stephen Curry's underrated camp, which was here in Oakland. That little badge around my jersey is my coach's ID badge, and we're trying to induce people, like Stephen, celebrities, who's to put their name in front of it. Also, not even money necessarily, frankly, but because I think younger people are more impressionable to celebrity. And
Yeah.
if for argument's sake, Stefan says you should do this, you might be more willing to do it than if Barry Kleiman, or with all due respect, Ted Prodromo says you should be willing to do it, right?
Yeah.
And
Who are we?
pardon?
Who are we?
Exactly. Who are we? I think I told you the story. One of my a mentor of mine is a gentleman named Jay Samet. I don't know if Jay will ever see this, but shout out to Jay. You've been so helpful to me. Jay's the author of several books, including a book called Disrupt You. I recommend it to everybody. I bought people copies of it. But I had breakfast with Jay one morning, and I was telling him about the fifth quarter project. And, he was the CEO of Sony Entertainment. He's been hired by the Pope to solve problems. He's just a genius guy and a lovely man. His art, when COVID hit and he couldn't travel due to other, not TED Talks this good, but the other kind of TED Talks, he took to his artwork. And if you look on Jay's website and look at his art, it's just spectacular. So he's just also continuously learning, growing. And I mean, he got picked up by galleries and he was just doing it as a sidelight. But anyway, I had breakfast with him one morning and I told him about it. He said, "What do you got?" And I told him, he said, "Barry, I think you have a home run."
Yeah.
And I was just so excited, Ted, because here I am talking with, really a highly accomplished person, and was talking to me about this idea that I had. And he said, "But there's just one problem." Okay.
Yeah.
Here I am eating my.
Just one problem.
He said, "You're old, short, white, and Jewish." He said, "You're not your target market." I said, "Well, GJ, that sounds like 4 problems." So, but it was very insightful, right? And it made me recognize that I needed to get people who were not me, but who I could help, but also might be more attracted to people who are more, what they look like. And again, it's true. I mean, I've coached, many levels and so forth. And unfortunately, kids today, they're really more weighted down by celebrity, I think, than we ever were.
Yeah.
I just think it's in your face more. But that's the reality, right, Ted? So what we try to do is deal with that reality. So a lot of what I'm doing right now is not just building programs for the fifth quarter project, but also trying to find people who are kindred spirits to it, who
Hmm.
might want to help us just talk about it. And again, money's great, but the
Yeah.
only way we're really going to succeed, somebody could write us a check for $5 million. It still wouldn't matter
Hmm.
unless we could get younger people to actually participate and kind of find out what they don't know and learn what
Right.
they don't know and put it into practice. And so it's some days, I'll be honest, I wake up and thinking, what the hell are you trying to do, Barry? Because I could still go be a headhunter and make a fine living, and and teach courses to affluent people, and I do have some private clients, but this is what I think I need to do. But
Yeah.
so it's not just the money; it's really making sure that um, you you present. Well, you and I know, right? We're disciples of Brian. I don't want to misquote Brian, but marketing isn't everything; it's the only thing. Or do you know that quote that he uses all the time?
I don't remember exactly the quote, but I know what you're talking about.
Well, and so, but that's true, right? And so, for what we're doing, and certainly for what you're doing, you're you're so well versed in your craft and your knowledge, but it wouldn't matter unless people knew about it,
Right.
right? And I say to people, people say, "Well, it's not what you know; it's who you know." I say, "No, no, that's BS. It's not what you know; it's who knows what you know."
Yeah.
Right? And you've got to be able to explain that. And so the game that we're in right now, in my opinion, I guess, again, how we finally met in Brian's group, it's a marketing group. And because we're trying to learn how to, you know, tell more people what we know and see if they have an interest in it and do it in a way that they say, oh, I need that. Right. And
Yeah.
so, and I talk about it all the time in career consulting.
Hmm.
I don't care if you went to Harvard and you're CPA, MBA. My office is, you can't see all the files back here. I haven't been able to quite throw 50 years of work out. All
Yeah.
analog stuff, right? Binders of paper resumes and stuff. I wonder if yours is in there somewhere.
It could be.
But
So kind of using that approach, like how do people stand out? How do you find those people that are going to step into their greatness and want to be seen?
exactly. And again, some people take for, well, they should already know about me. No, 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 no. That's not right. And it's funny you said that. And when I taught about LinkedIn in Florida at this Generation W conference, I said, look, you either in this life, I still have the banner that they took of what I said. In this life, you either stand out or blend in. There is no middle.
Yeah.
My wife said, well, that's not fair. I said, it may not be fair, but it's true. And
Hmm.
so, but I think the idea is to tell people that's just a reality, right? And to get off of get out of your ego and get into the reality of it. I mean, I'm so grateful for you hosting me on this thing today. I have no idea what'll come to it, but I am trying to help what we're doing stand out and try to find every avenue possible to do it. You're a tech guy, you'll laugh, but when I signed up for this stream, what's it called, Ted?
Restream.
Restream. I had to check all these boxes. Where do you want this seen? And YouTube and everywhere. I didn't
Yeah.
necessarily know how to do it, right? But that's it. And I tell people that's what you should do. And look, if I had to give somebody one tool, it would be LinkedIn professionally. It's
Mhm.
just true. I mean, it's how many subscribers are there on LinkedIn, Ted? Or how many people are on LinkedIn in theory?
Well, there's over 800 million now. About
Right.
40% are active users.
Yeah. So how many people does anybody need? What percentage of that does anybody need to know about what they do or what they can do to be successful?
Well, remember we talked about in our day, our professional network was a Rolodex.
Absolutely. I still have one. I'd love to find it, but although
Yeah.
people would know what that is, but go ahead.
Even if you had 200 cards there, that was your network. That's all
Yeah.
you had.
Right. Right.
And you didn't put anyone's card in there that you didn't want to get back in touch with. If it
There,
was somebody you met, it's like, no.
Yeah,
was,
no, it's true. And I think I told you at one point I had the big one because they were
yeah,
those little half moon ones, but I had the one, it's still in my garage, the one that turned because that was my job, right? I
yeah,
mean, more so than your job because you were more on the tech side. I was a people connecting person.
right.
You were a network connecting person. I mean, like networks, like plugs
But
and
it was all about the relationships.
all
It was
about
not about, what they did or anything. It's like, who do you know that can help me or can you help me?
absolutely. And again, you know, I think networking is an evil word, but I say connecting is a great word,
Yeah.
right? And again, that's why something like this. I mean, for anybody watching this, if you take nothing else from this, it's that Ted and I, we could have known each other 30 some years ago. Is that how long it is?
Yeah,
Yeah,
something like that. It was
30, 40, whatever, 40, I don't know.
1989. I went to work for Cellular One. So,
So however many years ago that is, because I don't know when Les started there. Les Chenazal, if you're watching, we're calling you out. But but you continue to connect, and when we both realized that we were connected to some of the same people, and those same people both said that we were decent human beings, you know, and now we're here on, I'm on Ted's, Tuesdays with Ted. I'm so grateful for it, but connecting is just so valuable.
yeah,
And so I ask people to lose the word networking, not that it's evil, but if you thought about it as connecting and
right.
you try to create genuine, real life connection, like we used to get in the schoolyards of Philadelphia.
Hmm.
There was no networking in those schoolyards.
Right.
You were either connecting or you weren't there anymore, and it was a very valuable, lesson, right? So anyway, but it is true, and I think I said this the other day. Um, I think if everybody thought about their life as trying to take a digital world and turn it analog, I really think that they would get great benefit from it. But unfortunately, we're smitten with TikTok, and again, it's not that it's evil, but it's also, we're human, and
Hmm.
I would say that most people who've had success are really, connected, right,
Yeah.
for real, with people, and whatever. How do you bridge the gap, Ted, teaching LinkedIn to people, which is a digital platform, obviously, but what's
Yeah.
your counsel to, I don't know if my comment about taking a digital world, making it analog, but if it makes sense to you or you agree at some level, how do you talk to people about doing it, or
Well,
do you?
it's not about sending 1,000 messages a day to people.
No.
Buy from me, or connect with me. I see we have something in common. Like find real conversations, or when I'm on a podcast or I have someone interview, like you were interviewing here, those are the people we have a relationship with now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to meet people in your network because I really like you. You're a great guy. And you want to meet people in my network because we have a lot in common.
Absolutely. Yeah. and
And that's
and
so much better than just sending messages to people and blasting social media posts like buy from me or download this free report that'll make you $1 million. There's so
right.
much fake hype out there. It's like,
No, it's true. Do you think that people? I don't know how much more time we have, but I'll ask you a couple of things. Do you think that people do that because they don't have the interpersonal chops to actually connect? Do you think that's why people do it? Or are they just looking? Or are they trying to game people? I mean, why do you think?
well, I know a lot of my quote unquote competitors or marketing experts, they teach that because it worked 15, 20 years ago. You could
Right.
actually blast messages or kind of trick people into working with you.
Right. Right.
And people are sophisticated now. They've seen all the tricks.
Right.
So if you just actually reach out to someone or pick up the phone and call someone you haven't talked to in a year, call your former clients once a year just to say, hey, how you doing?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Pick up the phone. People are like, oh my gosh, a phone call. What do I do?
What? Huh?
We didn't schedule this.
You're not on my Calendly. You know.
Right. So
Actually,
just do those simple little things, and it just works so well these days.
it's true. The lawyer who took the fifth quarter project and turned it into a formal 501c, a great guy named Andrew Morton, and he has some fairly illustrious clients, and I'm fortunate to know him. But we've been going back and forth with email, and I was just getting so pissed. This is on Friday. I called him up and he picked up the phone. Would you believe I was just going to, I said, no, I don't believe. Would you believe I was just, and he's a lawyer and he does very, very well. And we wound up, this is a true story, talking for an hour and a half. And I don't think I'm getting a bill for it. It was just a genuine, we went everywhere from golf and whatever to, obviously to some work related stuff, but it's just so true. And I guess I think we're running out of time, but I would just encourage everybody, and I think you would second that comment, to pick up the phone and call somebody and just, what was that old, you were in the telephone business, Ted? Reach out and touch someone, right?
Right.
So that's what I'd say. And again, it took us, however, I can't do the math on spot here, but it took Ted and I that many years to actually do this. Reach out and touch, but here we are, and I'm grateful for it. I really am, and I appreciate your coffee's next, or lunch or something.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you so much again. I got to let you finish this off because I think
what's your tell us your website. How can people get in touch with you?
Oh, sure. I mean, you could reach me, Barry, at the fifthquarterproject.org. Is there some kind of chat in this thing, or?
Yeah.
Do I have to do this? Because I'm happy to do it.
At the
fifthquarterproject.org.
Is it the number 5?
No, it's actually FIFTH. Okay, so here's a chat. You guys agree. Pick up the phone, schedule.
Project.org.
Yes. So I wish I knew how to work this chat. I would do it. Oh, there it is. Yep, perfect. I can even read it without my glasses. Yeah, I mean, that's great. I have a LinkedIn presence. Ted would probably rip it up, but that would be a great lesson. I have a lot of people saying some decent things about me because, again, you try to be a good person over the years. But for any of my friends who are watching this, or clients or colleagues or whatever, I can help you scratch the surface. That dude can help you dig foundations for your LinkedIn presence, and yeah, Ted, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it, and I'm going to private message you and figure out when we can go grab. Should we shout out the guy who I took to Mexican food and he didn't know Mexican food, and we should? I'll leave him alone.
I'll leave him alone. One item on the menu he never had.
That's right. So. Stay safe.
Probably watching, but
I hope so. But we won't mention his name. We'll just give him crap otherwise.
Well, thanks, Barry. This has been great. It's always great.
Thank you so much, Ted. I really do appreciate it. Stay safe.
You too.